Okay, August 8th, peak of the Lions portal. The Lions portal sounds really dramatic, but just means the sun is in Leo. It's lined up with Sirius. It's lined up with Earth. The little known people called the Egyptians were into it with their little known, world wonder called the pyramids. It was kind of all built around this event, their new year. And I didn't realize, or I did and forgot, that when I started this really was sort of at the beginning of that opening of the portal. I thought it happened today, but it is actually peaking today. So it's very important to be in a great space. So I'm using this video to rampage up my energy even more and talk about, because it's really great today to think about just all the good things, all the awesome things. And this experiment or journey, whatever you want to call it, that I'm doing is taking me to such a different place. I'm starting to have experiences that I've never had before, and I'm doing such a good job at this, and I'm good at this, and I'm getting my footing in this, and I love who I am and who I'm becoming. I love the knowledge that I'm gaining. I mean, there are people into this work that I've never heard of. I've been listening to Abraham for a long time, but suddenly I'm studying Neville Goddard. I didn't know he was really powerfully into this work in the 40s. I mean, you're talking almost 100 years ago, 80 years ago, and he used the Bible as his main ticket. The Strangest Secret, I didn't know what this was a few weeks ago, and suddenly I'm reading and studying it and doing that 30-day challenge, and I've established this goal of just feeling impassioned and empowered and full of love and appreciation every day. That's my goal. The amazing power of deliberate intent. Going back to the Course in Miracles, I used to study this, and I stepped away because I felt like I was missing something. And having studied Abraham and coming back, it's becoming so much more powerful. And it's starting a conversation between the two. This morning I was listening to something by Abraham, and it was talking about how Esther can get really general and really positive with someone and feel like their minds are completely connected. And Abraham actually said, you think you're separate, but you are not. You are not individuals. You are a collective mind that you are tapping into. You just think that you're separate because that's what we've taught ourselves. And I've been studying a lot of Alan Watts that's talking a lot about where that all comes from. Really these deep belief systems based on atheism or Christianity that have come through in the West that keep us feeling separate. This whole book is about the illusion of separateness, and that the goal of salvation, quote unquote, is the atonement, which if you separate the word is at one-ment, meaning we are so connected, and it's the separateness that's causing all of our pain. I've never heard Abraham talk about that. I've read about it in the Course in Miracles, but I've never heard Abraham say, you're all connected. I mean, the Course in Miracles says you have no private thoughts. And when you get into the vibrational work, you realize how we have no private thoughts. Not only are our minds connected, but actually we can pick up on people's energy. There's waves everywhere. There's light waves, sound waves, and we don't realize like we're swimming in a soup, and we're just filtering all that data through our skin, which is our biggest organ, right? It picks up on vibration, our eyes, our nose, our ears, our taste. We know this from physics and studying the brain, that the brain is filtering a lot of data. What we don't know is that depending what you believe and depending what you're thinking about and what your vibrational level is, you are going to interpret the world with all your feelers very differently. You're going to have a completely different experience if you are down at the bottom of that vibration scale than if you are at the top, because your vibrational feelers or senses are going to literally pick up on different things. That's how 20 people can watch the same event and all have a different experience. We are literally in our own worlds. That can get to the four agreements, or even, Hinduism, Buddhism, where you're getting into this idea of the dream that we're in, which Neville talks about too, that this is a world of imagination, and that we're really wanting to bring into alignment, Abraham would say, but be one with the Trinity. The Trinity occurs in each human. It isn't something that's out there and this God. You're created in the image of God, which means you have his imaging machine. That's your imagination, your desires, what you think about, what you pick up on, and putting out those feelers. So this is your imagination machine is really God. And Abraham will say you are directing the power that creates worlds. That's what it's getting at. And then the sun, the part of that Trinity, is you, the physical self who is in this world, who is focusing this power. You're the focuser. You're enjoying the manifestations. You're deciding the preferences. And this is why the bad stuff is so helpful too, because we're defining what we want and learning to make peace with what Abraham will call the contrast, which is such a nice, light way to put sort of the pain and suffering in the world, or that we each experience in our own lives. And the third part is the Holy Spirit, which is your non-physically focused part, or your inner being, as Abraham would call it. But that's your teacher, that's your guide that can see everything and knows where you want to go and is helping you find the path of least resistance through this physical world. And the Course in Miracles talks a lot about how the Holy Spirit does that. In fact, this whole book is about getting you connected to the Holy Spirit, but the way it describes it, it still sounds like something other than you. So I think it's so important to add the Abraham work and say, hey, this is really about you connecting with yourself, with your own inner being, which is what Abraham is. And generally, it's a collective stream of consciousness. And knowing that there's no death when you go to the other side, you're just part of this game in a different way. So, you know, my uncle, my aunt, my grandma who passed, Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, Jerry Hicks, all those guys, Neville, you know, they're out there on the other side watching this game, like super into it, and they're there to help us too. And they're there to help me bring about this message in another avenue and experience it for myself and creating for myself. And it's just, it is juicy. I mean, I've listened to it 1,000 times on Abraham, but I hadn't felt it. And words don't teach. Only life experience teaches. But I have to follow the words and the vibration to get me to my own experience. And so having this experience is just so good. And I'm so proud of myself for making this space. And I'm so happy for myself and my life that I'm getting this footing, getting this solid footing, getting this feeling and taking it out into the world and learning who I want to be and what I really want, rather than just sort of mucking through life. And I think that's how a lot of us are living. Like day by day, it's either too busy, we're too exhausted, we're too focused on a million different things going on. And to take this time to realize that my emotions and where I'm at are the most important thing for me and for everyone else. If I want to be helpful to anyone else, I've got to be happy. I've got to be plugged in. Only happy people can help anyone. Why? Because they don't need anything from anyone. And they're not looking to fix anyone or anything. They're just engaging with the world. And because everything is vibration and all my goodness is coming off of me, everyone comes up around me. And realizing that if people are down here in number 22, and I walk into a room and I get a negative reaction like, oh, you're just a positive Pollyanna or whatever, and people get angry and I'm picking up on that, which happens to me, I would often drop my own vibration to meet them. But that's just a race to the bottom. Then we just have more misery or more anxiety, which is fear, or more depression. I don't need to join people there. I need to realize that if they are getting angry with me, if I'm sensing that, they're coming up on the emotional scale if they were down at the bottom. And if they're blaming me, they're coming up even higher on the emotional scale. So if anything, that's a sign that I'm shifting the soup. And so great, I want them to feel that way. I need to shut down my feelers for being so sensitive to what other people are feeling. And just realize, hey, if I'm sensing something like that, the room's coming up, or those people are just vibing there anyway. And right now they're just gonna vomit it on me. But either way, we're coming up and we're coming up together. And so how I feel matters, and shutting out where everyone else is at. And that's gonna be, that's a practicing for me, because for so long I was an empath, I thought about powerful empath, and I was letting myself absorb it and be into it. And yesterday was an off day. Had a thing with my mother-in-law, not easy, huge topics, big stuff. And using my voice, I've always had a lot of hesitation with. I drop right into fear, because anytime someone's mad at me, I feel like they're right and I'm wrong and I deserve to be punished. I spend a lot of time down there. So how great that I get to drop down there and realize it doesn't mean anything other than the fact that I'm feeling that way and something's going on, and today is a fresh day. And I can be so excited and so happy for what's going on. Whatever happened with the contrast yesterday, I put out feelers, put out requests, got some clarity, and now I'm gonna focus on the good stuff, and I'm just gonna wait for the answers that I placed, or the questions or the asking that I placed yesterday to be answered. But I have to be in a good place to get those answers. Looking forward, leaving it behind. So here we go into August 8th. It's gonna be an amazing day. I'm so excited for this day. I'm so excited to see what's revealed to me. So if you wanna join me for the readings, it'll be the next video.